Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Now, ever since I was young and you watch things like The Saint, or you watch, I've just aged myself completely there, or you watch James Bond, whatever it is, all they've just got is a couple of bits of boopity boop to stick in a lock and jimmy it and, you know, they're in. I've always been absolutely fascinated by lock picking. So weirdly, just perfectly timed, the team at ProPick Tools recently got in touch and they said, would you like to try a little lock picking tool? And I was like, yes! So this is what we're going to have a look at today. Now I just want to start before I say this. So this piece of content is for edutainment kind of purposes. The legality of walking around EDCing lockpicks is let's just say a grey area. So this is, it's just for entertainment purposes here today. So let's take a closer look. Now this was all sent to me as part of a bit of a kit. So this is the lock picking tool here. There are several different types that you can see on the website, and these are all, I guess, practice locks. I guess when people start in their lock picking journey as such, these kind of give you a bit of information on kind of how the anatomy of a lock works. I will say at this point, so I'm a complete novice to this, never done this before, I don't know half the terminology that I'm using, other than I do watch a lot of other lockpicking stuff, like Lockpicking Lawyer. He's absolutely just dedicates his life to proving that you can pretty much get into anything. So there are lots of other channels, so I have had a look at these, so I do know roughly how these work. So this is one of the clear perspex ones, and what this really does is really kind of allow you to have a look at the anatomy of a lock. So you have this, I believe it's called a tumbler part here. This is the part that turns round as the key moves. But then on the left hand side here, or right hand side, depending on how you're looking at it, I guess. So you have these pins, and the pins are all at different lengths. So you have to make sure that the pin is at the right level for it to push through, which is why you have these different heights on here, because the pins are all cut to different heights. So although it looks as though that they've lined up specifically at the top, so this tumbler is allowed to turn, and that essentially is lockpicking. There you go. Go and enjoy. No, so being able to see it from the outside to understand how the anatomy of a lock works kind of helps you to work in your head, so that once you can do it through a perspex one, seeing what you're meant to see or meant not to see, you can then have a go. So I've rambled way too much. So this is one of their tools. It says H and H on it, and then underneath it says the brand of high quality. So on this side there's a little unfastener. I think this is just mainly so that when this opens it can keep all of the different rakes. Are they called rakes? I believe they're called rakes. So across the top you have one of the little tensioning tools, which is a bit of a bugger to get out, but I guess that's always good. You certainly don't want to lose this. I believe that this is just as much as important as all of the other tools that are in here. I think when you see people doing it with just one tool, I don't know if that's where you get people that are like, that's not a 9mm, it's ejecting from the wrong port. Gun kind of guys, where you probably get locker guys that are like, no, couldn't do that with one hand. But on the inside here, so I'm gonna fan these out, you get all of these different picks or rakes, again I believe they're called. Now each of these does have a different name. As a complete novice, I know that one's called Derek, that's Jemima, this is the Swedish tickler, that is the, actually I can't say that one in English. Anyway, so they've all got names, but essentially each one of these does a slightly different job, but essentially they're all doing the same job. You have to be able to push those pins down. I believe the Swedish tickler, which it's now going to be referred to as by the entire lockpicking community, is one of the easier ones to use. So this little bit, that tightens it down. So there you can see there's some movement in it, tighten that down. Now there is sans movement in it. I'm feeling very French today, very French. Anyway, so the way in which this works, like I'm some sort of leading authority, is this is used to put some tension onto it, so you slip it into the top there. Now I do know this needs to rotate that way, it needs to rotate in a clockwise direction, so I think if I put that in the top there and then put some tension on it, the pins are all across the bottom here, so if I slide this in, that is crazy. So you can see all of the pins. I'm a master criminal. I am a master criminal. I probably shouldn't have said that on. That is crazy. Should we try it again? Let's try it again. Is this because this is the? It's done. That is sick. Okay, that is sick. That is a lot of fun. I don't know if I've done that. I guess if you can pick a lock, then you've done it right. I guess the beauty and having how to finesse it would then be to use one of these other ones, because with that one it just kind of helps to jostle them all down. I'm gonna have to, let's do it again. Now I promise there's nothing wrong with this lock other than, oh, okay, well I've got to close it. Oh. User error, not lock error. This isn't any sort of weird dummy lock. They're just made from perspex so that you can see through them. I have seen that there are lots of other ones as well, so I guess, so this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 7 different pins that you have to align with this one, whereas this one there's definitely less. So this is a very common one that you get on British households. So this one has 5 pins. Does it matter which way this one turns? No, it doesn't matter. Should we try it the opposite direction? So you put it in there, put a bit of tension on it. Right, so that's harder to see because I can't. Let's try it this way. So again, I'm just, and it's the beauty of it is that you can actually see the pins. You can see the pins. You can see the pins moving. That is crazy. Oh, so the pins are at the top now. So I guess, can you just do that and it will turn? Yeah, of course you can do that. So that doesn't matter because they're all different lengths. That is nuts. Let's try it again. And I've done it again. That is way too much fun. Way too much fun, and a lot easier than I thought that it was going to be. I promise, at this point, I have never done this before. I have, well, as I mentioned, you know, I have watched quite a bit of content on how it's done, so it's not as though it's the first time I've ever seen this happen. I've seen people holding, you know, the like this, and then, and he's done it again. He's only gone and done it again. That is a lot of fun. That is genuinely a lot of adult orientated fun. Genuinely, so way more fun than I was expecting it to be. Easier than I was expecting it to be. However, I'm not under any sort of disillusion that these locks aren't designed to make it a little easier than some other locks. These are designed specifically so that you get to see the anatomy of the lock in there and how it actually works and functions, so that you can picture that in your brain, so that you can see it if you're doing it kind of blindfolded, because you can't see that through a normal lock. This is your gateway drug, pun intended, into that lock picking, and also lock sports. I didn't even realise there was such a thing. There's a genuine thing called lock sports. Just like people that have a Rubik's Cube and go, yeah man, I can do that in 3 seconds flat. You've got lock sport enthusiasts that work on locks. This is kind of where I started to watch Lockpicking Lawyer. If you need to follow this guy. He's absolutely amazing, the stuff that he does. But anyway, so it's definitely one of those nuanced things that you get into it and then you kind of learn and you progress and you get bigger and better at it. I don't usually do this, but I'm definitely... So these are great stocking fillers. I do have a link. The link is below, so feel free to use that link. But these are awesome stocking fillers. With Christmas coming up, especially for EDC enthusiasts like us, we always have something cool in our pocket. And if that special person in your life has always been fascinated by this sort of stuff, you can give them that gateway drug into it. I've said gateway drug twice now. I'm sure I'm probably going to get demonetized by YouTube for this, but 6 months time I'll be like, yeah man, I can get into anything, hands behind my back, fly all undone, and I'll do it blindfolded. I don't know why I needed my blindfold with my fly hole open. Awkward. Anyway, so yes, I'll leave all of those links below. Remember, I know I mentioned at the beginning of this, the legality around if you're the nefarious type that is always being pinched by the police and has something like this in your pocket, then you're going to have some explaining to do. But if you're looking to get into that lock-picking, lock sport community, then yeah, just be careful and be safe. Hey, perfectly on to links below, YouTube and all the other what's below. Stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. Pro Pick Tools, not Pro Pick Tools. Pro Pick Tools. Say it right. Come on, Novent. Stocking fillers. Who'd have thought Christmas has come on that quickly? It was little baby Adelheide's birthday the other day. She was 14 on the 27th, which is nuts. I can't believe she's 14 already. But Christmas doesn't start in the Moorlander household until Adelheide's had her birthday, which is lucky that it's at the end of November. And I dare say the Moorlander ladies will be probably drinking some mulled wine, carefully of course, you know, they're underage, but it's okay if they're in the home and they're 14. But yes, I dare say some mulled wine will be drunk this afternoon whilst they put the Christmas lights and tree up. It's a Moorlands family tradition. And then Ruth and I will probably have an argument later, which is another kind of Christmas tradition as well, once the lights are up. Yeah, cool. I hope you're all good. Happy Wednesday. Hump day. Humpity hump. Yeah, cool. See you in a bit.